They're calling this the biggest individual and business tax cut in American history. One of the goals for tax reforms is to simplify the burdensome tax code. How do you think that will work out? I mean, obviously, the tax code can be very confusing to people. That has to be something for the normal, regular person that you have to have a big smile on your face, because you almost have to hire someone or pay for a service to do a pretty basic tax return anymore.
I think there's some truth to that, King, at least from the standpoint of the U.S. tax code is extraordinarily complicated. I don't really believe that they're going to be able to simplify it to the point where everyone can do their own tax return. I know that's the goal, but you're always going to have events that occur that are going to require a little bit more than just filling out a tax return, which they're saying would be on, the size of a large postcard. But let me tell you what they're focused in on as far as simplification. They're talking about having a standard deduction, doubling the standard deduction from approximately $12,000 up to $24,000. And because of that, most people now are going to fall into using the standard deduction as opposed to using itemized deduction, which for the average person, it's really the itemized deductions that cause some confusion for them. Now, the itemized deductions, and I said this right out of the box when I saw the press conference in rolling out this plan, they're going to get rid of, or proposing to get rid of, all itemized deductions except for mortgage interest and charitable contributions. So the big one in there that they're going to get rid of is a deduction for your state taxes paid. Now, this is a really, really interesting concept, King, because it's not just about the numbers. This is really about politics. For example, New York, New Jersey, California, those three states which are heavily taxed at a state level, do you know they make up 38% of the people who are filing tax returns who are taking that type? They get 38% of the benefit, I should say. So you have more than a third of the country concentrated in three states. And you know what? Those three states happen to be heavily Democratic. And you could even throw in a few more states like Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maryland, those states which are also heavily taxed. Those are the states that are really going to feel it. So I think the political side of this from a Republican Democrat standpoint is they want to start putting pressure on these states to say, you know what, the federal government is not going to subsidize all of these people who are getting the benefit, quote unquote, from being in a highly taxed state. If your state that you live in is going to tax you that heavily, then your issue is with that state. And if this ends up going through, and I'm not sure it will, it's probably 50-50, that is going to be huge. You are going to see, in my judgment, some mass exodus out of some of these states because now there's really going to be a huge tax bite related to your state income taxes and real estate taxes, sales tax, and all those other things. New Jersey, right, the number one state in the union where people are moving out of. This type of tax proposal it's only going to exacerbate that situation for a state like ours.